How's it going, guys? Nintendo Enthusiast here. So today I wanted to talk about two potential Nintendo Switch games. Now, neither of these games are confirmed for Switch, and one of them isn't even confirmed at all, but all sources are pointing to it being real. So anyway, let's jump on in. First off, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. Now, surprisingly, this wasn't announced for Switch whenever it was first revealed, and I thought that was pretty weird. As you might know, the remake of the Trilogy was originally launched on PlayStation 4, and then later on it got announced for Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. It's no secret that the Trilogy remake surpassed Activision's expectations, and I bet it wasn't long after that they started developing Crash Bandicoot 4. But don't fret, even though it hasn't been officially announced for Nintendo Switch, there's been somewhat of a leak on the game's official website. As of right now, on the game's official website, you can click on the PlayStation 4 version or the Xbox One version. However, someone was able to get out some source code or something like that in the back end of their website. I don't know how this stuff works, I just know that they got some code from the back end, and as you can see, it clearly says Nintendo Switch. This Twitter user at Sunwerprower discovered the site's source code, and like I said, you can clearly see Nintendo Switch. However, it deliberately hasn't been pushed to the live version of the site, which means they might have it prepared for some type of official announcement for the Nintendo Switch version. Maybe an upcoming Nintendo Direct or something, I'm not really sure. But considering we recently got the Crash Trilogy as well as Crash Team Racing on Switch, I wouldn't be surprised if a Crash 4 Switch announcement happened sometime in the near future. I mean, I'll put on my tinfoil cap and guess that maybe they're giving us some type of exclusive edition inside the Nintendo Switch version, maybe with some Nintendo IP, or maybe Mario. His 35th anniversary is this year. What if we got Mario in a Crash game? That would be bonkers insane. But one thing I want to note before moving forward is that this has happened in the past and the game did not come to Switch. For instance, last year, Call of Duty, another Activision franchise, was listed for Switch in the source code. But obviously, no Call of Duty game has made its way to Switch. As weird as that is, I mean, you'd think that Activision would want to fill that niche on Switch, considering there aren't a lot of military first-person shooters. I think Call of Duty would actually do pretty damn well on Switch. It seems like Activision might still be treating the Switch like the Wii U, which I think is a big mistake. The Switch is one of the fastest selling consoles of all time, so you'd think that a lot of these big publishers would want to put as many games on it as possible. Like, where's The Sims on Switch? After the major success of Animal Crossing on Switch, I wouldn't be surprised if EA changes its tune on whether or not it's going to bring Sims to the Nintendo Switch. Speaking of EA, this is the perfect segue to talk about the next game in this video, the Mass Effect Trilogy. It was way back in May of this year where Jeff Grubb put this at the bottom of one of his articles. Oh, and that HD remaster of an EA game is the Mass Effect Trilogy. Just don't expect it to also launch on Switch. At least not at first. Then, just recently, you're actually able to pre-order the trilogy at a UK shop, pretty much confirming that this exists. Sadly, it doesn't look like a Switch version is in the cards, at least not yet. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm super excited to replay this trilogy on PlayStation 4 or Xbox at a higher resolution and frame rate, and I really hope they touch up the first game a bit. But come on, not Switch, again. EA, people buy games on Switch. That is a fact. And I know there are a lot of people that haven't played the Mass Effect Trilogy, and they would most definitely pick it up on Switch. Honestly, I don't know how Nintendo has done it, but people who I never even expected to get into games have gotten into them because of Switch. And there have been a lot of instances where games have continued to sell the best on Switch, especially indie games. A lot of Switch versions have actually been outselling the Xbox One and PS4 versions combined. I just really don't understand EA's mindset on this. Or in general, why haven't we gotten the Mass Effect Trilogy already? That seemed like it should have happened at the very beginning of this gen. EA says that they don't like doing remasters because they think they should focus on new experiences for people. Yet they'll crank out a roster update every single year for all of their sports titles that are pretty much the exact same game. But luckily they broke that trend with Burnout Paradise that came out. That was a remaster, and it seems like they're going to continue re-releasing games like the Mass Effect Trilogy. I hope that this Mass Effect remaster is a bit more than a remaster, but all signs are pointing to that not happening. This will probably just be a simple up-res with higher frame rate and hopefully some enhanced textures, especially on Mass Effect 1. Mass Effect 2 and 3 actually age fairly well. They do feel a bit dated, but they're really not that bad. Either way, the Mass Effect Trilogy is probably not coming to Switch this year, but I have hope that it will make it to Switch sooner or later. Playing Mass Effect 3 on the Wii U was actually pretty surreal, and I would love to play it again on Switch. With, of course, the bonus bonus of the amazing first two games. At the end of the day, I think Crash Bandicoot 4 and Mass Effect will make it to Switch. I just think we're going to be waiting a bit longer than everyone else. But let me know what you think down in the comments section below. This Mass Effect trilogy is pretty much a for sure thing, but what do you want to see out of it? Maybe some new features of some sort, or better graphics? And what do you think about Crash 4? Do you think it'll make it to Switch sooner or later? Because I definitely think it will. It's not a huge graphical leap above the trilogy that we just got, so I don't think it's going to have trouble running on Switch. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. If you didn't, hit that thumbs down. And if you're feeling generous, hit that subscribe button, and maybe even that notifications bell. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.